What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching Tru Heel Heat Podcast.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with Tru Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Schiavone of All Elite Wrestling, and this is Tru Heel Heat, and I said it right, you motherfuckers.
All right, ready when you are.
Hey guys, I may have go away heat, but these guys have Tru Heel Heat. So you better listen to the podcast or else I'm gonna kick you in your fucking cock and balls.
I'll get it.
Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3, and we are live on the Tru Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel, as well as Tru Heel Heat Facebook for Tru Heel Heat Check number 21, 2025-2026 Midseason Awards. Don't worry, I still don't have a blazer for me to wear for any award ceremonies. We are here to discuss everything that's going down in the NBA as per usual on Tru Heel Heat Check, but we are also going to be giving out our award winners for Midseason Awards. Today is January 28th, 2026. So we are right at the mid-season point of the NBA season. We're a week away from the trade deadline. So we're going to talk some trade deadline. We're going to talk some mid-season awards. Plus we got the top 10 best in-season trades. But to do all of that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague, the #1 New York Knicks enthusiast himself, Chris G. How are you feeling, Chris G?
Fucking cold. New York City's cold, man. But I got my Knicks hat on. I got my Knicks robe on. Like, I'm nice and comfy.
God.
So
He's all nicked out.
I'm all nicked. Perfect timing too. Perfect timing to be all nicked out. Coming off the heels of some news that was broke earlier today. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
Well, share with the people the news. Go ahead. You can tell it.
Well, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, the door has been opened for a potential trade. He wants out of Milwaukee. Milwaukee will start entertaining offers for the Greek freak. As a Knicks fan, this is very exciting news because they have been on his radar or on their radar for the better part of a year and a half at least. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
We shall see what happens, but we're going to talk about the Giannis potential trade. We're going to talk about trade deadline in general and one of the hottest teams in all of the NBA to start things off. But before we do that, we appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. You could drop a thumbs up on this video. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. You can also share this video with all your basketball family, friends, and fans on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the Tru Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. You can also sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you, hear your thoughts on the latest in the NBA with us here, and we're going to discuss it. Plus, we want to hear your feedback on our awards that we're giving out today, as well as our top 10 in-season trades. But let's talk about that breaking news. It was about 15 minutes ago. Sham Shawani, the new Woj, as we've been calling him, he tweeted out, two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo is ready for a new home at the February 5th NBA trade deadline or in the offseason, as several rival teams make aggressive offers to the Milwaukee Bucks for him. And the franchise is starting to listen, league sources tell ESPN. So with the trade deadline, it's next week, February 5th. It does seem like the New York Knicks would be the team who has the best inroad to aggressively go after Giannis. There are teams that have better offers, like the Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs, but I feel like they're in a better position to make those offers in the offseason. They rather see what they can do with their current alignment of players. So those teams might not be in the running right now to get it done in a week's time, whereas the Knicks feel like they are the ones that will put the most aggressive charge to making this offer. So how do you think about the Knicks' chances of landing Giannis Antetokounmpo before next week's trade deadline?
It's tough. It really depends on how fast Milwaukee and Giannis want to get this done, right? Like, Giannis as a competitor, he will be back this season. I'm sure he would like to get traded mid-season, play for a contender, and have a shot at winning another championship, rather than coasting, helping the Bucks tank, and then getting traded into offseason anyway. So I just don't see Giannis wanting to wait the full season. I also think Milwaukee as an organization respects Giannis enough to try to make this trade happen for the betterment of both parties. So I don't think it would benefit Giannis waiting to the offseason. So we'll see if they can pull that trade in a week. The Knicks' chances, I think they're good. There's not a lot to offer in terms of draft picks and draft capital and stuff like that. But we do have young players. We do have contracts that can match the money and all that stuff. That wouldn't take too much to facilitate. So you might need a third team in there, but there's teams out there willing to eat expiring contracts and give up some of their draft capital. So I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see in the two teams I'm hearing is the Knicks and the Heat going after him most aggressively. So it depends which package is better.
And I do know that the Heat do have some draft capital that they can give up. So that would be kind of a good one for Giannis. But I think that the Knicks, with the package they have, is probably going to be like a Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, and Deuce McBride, with maybe whatever a draft pick that you have left over from giving up 5 for Mikal Bridges in the first place. So
well, they have a lot of pick swaps, and they have pick swaps with bad teams who might finish outside of the unprotected realm, or the protected realm. So the Knicks could see some of these first round picks back, depending on where these guys finish or some of these teams finish. So, I mean, they're appealing picks. They're not like they have no value at all. And even if they are not pick swaps, they're still first round picks that, that can be useful if the drafting is correct. So I don't want to see Bridges go, but if he has to for the Greek Freak, I mean, I guess it is what it is.
At least you could say those 5 draft picks got you Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Well, if
instead
we're
of
giving
Michael
another
Bridges.
4 for a fucking swap, then it's 9 draft picks for Greek Freak. But hey, it's worth it. It's the Greek Freak.
We should mention a couple of good quotes that I'm seeing online. Stephen A. Smith earlier today, after hearing this news, said, "The love affair is over. There should be an extreme level of appreciation of the greatness that he's put on display and the fact that he delivered a championship to the franchise." I have been also seeing a bunch of tweets about people saying that all these Giannis headlines and tweets always read weird. Like, they don't want to say that Giannis has finally asked for a trade. It always comes off of he's ready for a new home. He wants to explore his different options. It's always coded, but they just won't say he requested a trade.
Even him, he'll deny it himself. Like, I'm never gonna ask for a trade. I don't want to get traded. And then he'll be in the back just like, hey, can you trade me? What's the value?
We got Jose in the chat. Thank you for joining us. He says it's gonna be funny when Knicks fans see Giannis to Toronto for RJ Barrett, Jacko Polto, Grady Dick, and multiple picks. I mean, that's a much. I'm sorry. Like, I said this at the top. I feel like the Rockets, the Spurs have better packages, but they're not gonna make that trade by the trade deadline. I feel like there's other teams like I think not the Heat. The Heat have basically degraded most of the players that they want to give up for a Giannis. But Toronto, that package is better than the Knicks package. I'll be honest. Like, yes, Karl Anthony Towns is probably the best player between this package and the Knicks package, but multiple picks, that's the key. Like, if I'm Milwaukee, I'm not giving up Giannis for less than 2 to 3 draft picks.
It also depends on the team you trade them to, though, because the value of those draft picks is like, where do they fall, right? I don't think you're trading Giannis anywhere to where you're going to get a high draft pick. They're going to be either pick swaps or they're going to be mid to late round picks, even if it's to the Raptors. I think the thing that makes the Knicks package most appealing is the fact that Cat is probably the best player on the market that could get traded for Giannis. So you'll have a guy that's not 30 yet, center, can do a lot of good things on the floor when he's committed. And you can still kind of build around that rather than, taking 5-6 future first round picks. And then you have to really just build your future, which, can take 7-8 years. Look at OKC, you know what I mean? So it's like, it depends which route the Bucks really want to take.
If you're the Bucks, do you really want a Karl Anthony Towns? If you're planning on tanking and trying to get a high draft pick with your pick, why would you want Karl Anthony Towns?
Well, how much are they willing to tank? Are they going to tank? Are they trying to tank to the point where? Are they trying to tank to the point where they want every single number 1 draft pick? Because if that's the case, you trade them to the fucking Nets for Michael Porter Jr. and 7 first round picks, and they're going to be fucking terrible for who knows how long. And then you get all those picks and capital. But now the teams that you're looking at, Heat, Raptors, Knicks, those 3 teams right there are anywhere between play-in to solidly in the playoffs. You're not going to get anything higher than a mid-round, first-round pick for them. The most appealing thing would be getting the pick swaps, because then with the pick swaps, with all the shitty teams that the Knicks have pick swaps with, you have a chance at getting a top 10 pick if it's unprotected or something like that, or a lottery pick if it's if it falls behind under the protection or over the protection, whatever. So those picks potentially being higher than any other pick that another franchise can offer, with the addition of a number 1 pick overall in the draft who still has plenty of talent and plenty of game left, I think it's appealing.
All right, so this is the root of my whole situation with putting this whole Giannis trade in my head. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've said this before on other podcasts. I haven't said this to you yet. I'm saying this to you as a good friend and a person that understands and have seen, like you, seen the Knicks up close and personal. Giannis is not going to get y'all a championship. I'm just saying, like, Giannis will put y'all team in the driver's seat to make it to the finals, but y'all ain't beating nobody in the West, even with Giannis. So
I think the jury's out on that one. Can't agree. Can't agree. I think Giannis is a game changer for any team, especially for a team who's literally on the cusp So I don't know. I mean, you're trading Cat. Yeah, I get it. But like you're getting a way more efficient player. And maybe you need some more depth on the bench. Maybe you need a couple more bigs. Sure. Sure. Maybe another wing or two that can hit the three. Sure. But anything can happen in the NBA playoffs, man. So as we seen last year, so I like my chances if I have Jalen Brunson and Giannis on the same team.
We seen Giannis with a like a great scorer, a really good scorer, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough until they got True Holiday, and until Brook Lopez became this extraordinary 3-point shooter. Like that. That's the thing that took
Mitchell Robinson's working on
him and another All-Star does not equal the championship. It does not equal the championship.
Mitch is working on a 3 for next season. So
now this
Brook Lopez, and then OG's our Drew Holiday. Well, shit, we might actually trade for Drew Holiday himself. Who the fuck knows? Because there's rumors about that. But no, in all honesty, they might not make Giannis might not make us elite, but it definitely improves our team.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna improve your team because I jinxed y'all and said that y'all were gonna be a favorite to win the Eastern Conference, and then y'all went on that downslide where y'all lost multiple games in a row and had like a bad stretch after winning the NBA Cup. But I mean, you kind of bounced back a little bit in the past week or so since the last time we did our podcast. I don't know. I've also like you lived in New York most of my life, and I've seen every all-star player who has been interested in going to New York not go to the Knicks.
That's true.
Except for Carmelo Anthony, because he grew up in Brooklyn. That was the only one out of like in the last 37 years of my life that I've seen of all-star level or superstar level player that went to the New York Knicks.
Yeah, that's true. I still have PTSD from when I thought we were going to get Kobe in like 04 or some shit.
Kobe in 04, Chris Webber in 2003, Tracy McGrady when he was a free agent in like 2002, 2003. Like, come on. The Daily News made a living in the 2000s off of every all-star player that became available going to the New York Knicks in the headlines.
The original OGs of the Photoshop skills, because they had every motherfucker in a Knicks uniform on that front page that never actually played for the Knicks. So
yo, they were getting their grok on, yo.
Way ahead of their time.
But we shall see. We'll definitely do a Tru Heel Heat check. If the trade happens in the next week, we'll probably have to do another Tru Heel Heat check next week. We might have to. When is February 5th? February 5th is a Thursday.
It's I think it's next Thursday or Friday.
Okay, so we should plan on doing a Tru Heel Heat check on Friday next week.
Sounds
if you
good.
can. If you can. So we can talk about after the trade deadline is in the past, we can talk about everything that goes down. Or if nothing goes down, we'll be like, oh, this trade deadline sucked in comparison to last year. But we're gonna talk more about in-season trades to end the podcast today. But there's another big news in the NBA, and it's the hottest team in the NBA. The hottest team in the NBA that we badmouth ridiculously, me specifically, badmouth ridiculously when we ranked all our tier teams at the beginning of the season, where we put them in the shitter, deservedly so, and where they started the season 6-18, but have gone on a stretch of winning 16 of their last 22, and we are talking about the Los Angeles Clippers, who have been on a roll, led by the guy that I also shitted on during our tier ranking, Kawhi Leonard, who's been on very much one of the best stretches of basketball that he's played over the last couple of seasons. He's averaging like 31 points during this 22 game stretch, 31 points per game. I think like 8 rebounds, 6 assists. He's shooting like 8 threes a game, so he's really kind of led the charge in this 3-point shooting barrage that the Clippers have been on. But the Clippers have turn their season around. They're currently 10th in the NBA Western Conference, 22-24. They're 2 wins away from being at 500, something that even Tyrone Lue, he was just talking about going 41-41, and he's already going to get that if they're able to win their next 2 games. And they have so many games against the people that are above them right now, whether it's the Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors. They play the Lakers on February 20th. They play the Nuggets on February 19th. What have you thought about the Los Angeles Clippers and this insane turnaround? One of the craziest turnaround, to the point that people are talking about, like, with their 3-point shooting barrage, as well as their defense. They've been one of the top defenses during this stretch of basketball as well. A lot of people are even talking about they have the possibility of not only getting, higher up in the Western Conference, but could be a championship threat finally, after 6-7 years of this whole experiment with Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers. This feels like the strongest the Clippers have ever played, and this is talking about a team that went to the Western Conference Finals like 4 seasons ago. What have you thought about the Clippers during the last month and a half?
Clearly, Chris Paul was the problem. Clearly, CP3 was an issue. Because I don't know how the timing is just so very coincidental. But no, honestly, I think it starts with Kawhi. I think maybe they had, like, you never know. They could have had like a behind closed doors players only meeting, and they really, maybe the Kawhi stepped up and was like, listen, I need to play better, and or maybe it's just healthy now, because now he's playing like Kawhi. And you can see the rest of the team feeding off that. He's shooting super efficient from the 3-point line, and just from the floor in general, putting up 30 a game at least. James Harden's been solid all season, but now you can really see a little bit like more pep in his step. You see the other vets around them kind of playing harder, a little bit more hustle. And it's cool to see. I mean, I hope they keep playing good basketball. Makes the West more competitive, right? It keeps that number 1 pick out of the Thunder's hands, because we were worried.
Would have ruined everything.
we were kind of worried about that for one point. It's an impressive run. They were dead last, and now they're all the way back in the 10th seed with potential for more. I think championship aspirations might be pushing a little bit. They are one of the oldest teams in the league, so you could expect some late season fatigue. Hopefully, it doesn't translate into the playoffs if they make it that far. But it's been fun to see. I kind of hate that the Knicks were like in the middle of it.
The Lakers were too. We were both victims of this streak by the Clippers. I mean, I've been loving the way they play, because they've had a lot of role players that have stepped up for them. Like James Harden is still averaging like good numbers, like 25 points per game, 8 assists, but he's been shooting the ball really bad this year. He's averaging like 39% from the field, 30% from 3, but he has been running like the show in the offense, being that number 2 option next to Kawhi Leonard. When Kawhi is out, he steps up and is the number 1 option. What's his name? Zubac has kind of had a rebound over the last month and a half as well. He started off the season not doing as well as that great season that he had last year, but he's been kind of getting back into form, being a formidable threat in the low post for the Clippers. I mean, Brook Lopez has been like the key to me as far as like the role players, because he, like I said, he started with the Bucks, where he became this 3-point specialist, but it's amazing to see him even in his older age still doing his thing. He's still doing his thing from behind the 3-point line, and really kind of with Kawhi leading the way with this 3-point barrage that's been this team. So I love the fact that they have a whole bunch of role players that stepped up. And you said Chris Paul, maybe another one that was holding them back was Bradley Beal, because all of this came after Bradley Beal was out for the rest of the season.
That is true. I forgot he even played. I forgot that he was on the team, man. I forgot he was on that team for the first 15 games. I mean, some guys fuck up the flow. Maybe he was fucking up the flow. I mean, he did it in Phoenix, so it makes sense he would do it in LA. So, yeah. I mean, let's see if they can continue this hot streak.
Yeah, and maybe they can get in the mix with the trade deadline and make a key move that furthers this whole run that they've been on, and can elevate them up the Western Conference even more. So I want to be the first to apologize to the Los Angeles Clippers for all my bad mouthing. I still hate y'all franchise. I always will, and think y'all are an inept franchise, an incompetent franchise. But I mean, results are results. So maybe y'all did make the right move of letting Chris Paul go. Maybe y'all did. So
Yeah.
I'm willing
They went on
to
this
say
run.
I was wrong.
They went on this run, and Lawrence Frake got rewarded with a 4-year extension. It's like clearly CP3 is the problem.
CP3 was the problem. It wasn't the Clippers were the problem. CP3 was the problem, apparently. But yes, gotta give love to the Clippers. An insane turnaround, and it might be one of the best turnarounds we've ever seen from a team, because they 6-18, the bottom of the Western Conference, to a 10th seed, and they look like they're going up because of like the key injuries to the likes of like the Golden State Warriors. The Portland Trailblazers are ahead of them in the play-in right now, and they can easily get past them. They've been one of the strongest teams. Like, they out of everybody in the West, they are the hottest team in the Western Conference right now. So this could even go further, and they could get into outside of the play-in position and maybe to a 6 seed, if anything, because they have a couple of games against Phoenix, a couple of games against the Timberwolves, a couple of games against the Rockets. So it's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
So what do you want to say about the Knicks before we go on to our list and awards on this show? What do you think about the state of the Knicks here on Tru Heel Heat Check number 21?
I mean, they started to pick it back up the last couple games. It's just you could see them a little tired. They got tired legs a little bit. They're starting to feel a little more rejuvenated. But a lot of the issues, man, if you watch this team, Karl Anthony Towns plays like a fucking idiot sometimes, and he completely messes up the flow for the rest of the squad. Whether it's a missed defensive assignment, missing a wide open three is not too bad, right? But when he misses one wide open three, then he tries to drive in on 4 people afterwards because he misses one shot. So, and then he turns over the ball. He argues with the ref. I seen this man get his 5th foul in the 4th quarter, 15 seconds into the quarter. Like, I was watching it. I watched like 3 games in a row, and each game I got increasingly more frustrated with them. And I was like, this isn't it. Like, there has to be something that has to be done, because I think now it's almost affecting the chemistry of the team. So, and the team has good chemistry. I mean, the guys like really do like running together, and we've seen it. We've witnessed it in the NBA Cup. But like, if you witnessed it from last year's playoffs, you could kind of see that Cat's the odd man out, because the defense isn't there, the hustle isn't there, sometimes the mentality isn't there. So, I think at this point, see what you can get from him, see if you can improve the team. Maybe you land Giannis and try to make a run.
So do you think they move on Cat even if they don't get if it's not for Giannis, or you only think they would trade Cat for Giannis?
I think if Giannis isn't going to come like mid-season, if he's going to wait it out to the off-season, I could still see him trading Cat, honestly. I think they want to get rid of the contract, and bring in, even if you got to bring in some 1-year expiring contracts that could maybe help the team compete, you do it, pull the trigger, and then next year you got some money to play with and see what you can get out there.
Yeah, I can see that. Moving on to my Los Angeles Lakers, it's been better on the court. We've won 4 of our last 5. Our defense has looked good in the last couple of games, with the Chicago game, that big comeback against the Dallas Mavericks. Remarkable comeback, because we were down by 11 with like 8 minutes left in that game. So smartly, finally, after me yelling about that on the last couple of episodes, he put Rui Hachimura on the bench. Thank you. Thank you, JJ, for listening and changing up this lineup that was horrifying every time we would lose the first quarter, even though we're still, I think our point differential, we are like negative 7.7 in the first quarter. I think it's like negative 2 in the second quarter, negative like 3 in the third quarter, and we're like plus 10 in the fourth quarter. We're one of the best fourth quarter teams, especially coming off of that comeback against the Dallas Mavericks. So the defense has looked better. LeBron has looked more motivated. Luka Doncic is playing more with effort on the defensive end this year. And the big news is that we look like we're getting Austin Reeves back in the next couple of games, which should help everything on offensively and defensively with the effort that he puts there. So liking that for my Lakers. The real big problem is we can't depend on DeAndre Ayton to be our big man. He puts up, the temporary double-double on occasion, but it's never very consistent. He is a defensive liability in the paint. We need a new big man. We need a secondary big man. I heard Kendrick Perkins talking about a Daniel Gafford to bring on to the team. I would love that. I talked about last time, like a Jalen Smith from the Chicago Bulls. That's someone I would love who's good on defense and can stretch the floor from the three-point line. So yeah, we definitely need to improve. If we're going to make a trade deadline trade, it's probably to get another big man and then probably put Ayton off the bench, have him come off the bench for us, and he can put up his numbers without being the defensive liability that he is in the starting lineup. But the bigger news outside of the court is the drama between Jeanie Buss and LeBron James. And it looks like LeBron James is playing his final season in the purple and gold. His contract expires at the end of the season. And there was this big memoir that came out where Jeanie Buss had all these problems with LeBron James and the fact that he has been known as the person who saved the Lakers and his ego, and that he didn't take too much credit for the Russell Westbrook trade, which he was 100% responsible for. And he didn't show enough appreciation for the Lakers drafting Bronny James. Honestly, to me, I don't know about you, I'll ask you, but to me, this feels like a planted story by the brothers. If y'all don't know, the brothers Buss have been the most incompetent leadership in any NBA team. And I'm saying that as someone that always badmouths the Knicks leadership and the Clippers leadership. But the Buss brothers are horrible. They've been horrible. They were slackers back in the 80s, let alone when their father passed away and they were given more power within the team. They were just messing up everything. So I feel like it's more the Buss brothers that put these stories out more than what Jeanie actually thinks and feels. And she came out with a statement kind of saying that none of those statements were true and what she felt. But what do you think about all the drama off the court for the Lakers right now?
I mean, that's a dysfunctional family, bro. It is what it is. They've had a lot of dysfunction. It's well documented. The Buss brothers are terrible. They're piece of shit owners. Everybody knows it. They're like the Wilpons or the Johnson brothers, which I'm very familiar with. They're bad owners. They don't know how to treat their players. They don't know how to treat a franchise. At the same time, though, I mean, LeBron James is LeBron James. There is going to be a level of ego there. So is there truth behind, what's being said? Maybe. I wouldn't put it past anybody. I mean, usually LeBron's known for being like a even kill guy, right? Like not too bolsterous or anything like that, even though he's LeBron James. He has the right to have some type of ego. So I could see like some truth, some flames in the fire, but I don't think like, there's a full-on hatred or full-on unappreciation for LeBron James from Jeanie Buss or vice versa or anything like that. Could just be the Buss brothers stirring up shit.
So if LeBron chooses to leave the Lakers and spend his final year in the NBA somewhere else, or final 2 years with the way he's playing at 41, leading the NBA in the fourth quarter, that's been one of the key storylines also of 2020, of the 2025-2026 season. It's been all these unks who are still somehow in their prime. LeBron James at 41 years old leads the league in fourth quarter points. You got Kevin Durant, who's the leader and the top scorer for the Houston Rockets. You got Steph Curry, who's single-handedly holding the whole Golden State Warriors franchise on his back at 37 years old. What have you thought about that? And do you think LeBron will leave at the end of the season, and where he might go?
I mean, these guys are generational talents. That's what they do, right? They perform at a level of consistency for their whole career. It's crazy to see LeBron throw down windmill dunks and shit at 42. Like, At 34, my knees hurt just looking at him. So at 42 is crazy. And guys like Steph and KD, like, you know, they're great to see, and it's good to see that they're still kicking and they got years left in them, right? As when it comes to LeBron, though, it's weird. Like, I feel like LeBron, like, this year has been so like painful for him physically, like between the sciatica and like he has to do the load management because his foot has the plantar and, you know, fucking pinched nerves and this and that. Like, he's going through it physically, right? Like, a part of me thinks LeBron after this year is just gonna be like, fuck it, I'm done. Like, you know, I'm done, right?
Yeah,
But then,
if it goes to what he said before, that he doesn't want to make a big deal of his farewell tour, even though no one in their mama believes that. I could see, if he wants to like be a man of his word, that he didn't want to make a big deal. I could see him saying like, you know what, that was my final season.
that's the thing, because he does say that he doesn't want like a big final, like a retirement tour, you know. So I could see him just fading off like in this offseason. Like, my contract's done. I'm done. I got nothing else to prove. I'm ready ahead of everybody in total points by fucking 10,000. Like, you know, I don't really need to do much, right? But at the same time, it is LeBron James, arguably the best player of all time. He deserves a retirement tour. I would think he wants a retirement tour. So I could see him potentially. I mean, if there's a team out there that could afford him for 1 year that has the potential to contend, that he thinks he could help, yeah, I could see him signing with them. Me personally, I could see LeBron signing a very cheap contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers for 1 more year and finishing his career where he started, home with a great team, making minimal money. Who cares? He's fucking rich. He's worth almost $1 billion already. He's going to buy a franchise. Like, he'll be fine. He doesn't need the extra $50 million for that year. He'll make that shit up in endorsements and investments. So I could see him retiring as a Cav 1 more year. Or I could just see him, that's it, going off into the moonlight.
Yeah, I think if he leaves the Lakers and he wants to play 1 more year, I would say it's either Cleveland would be like the number 1 option. If he wanted to go back to another one of his old teams, I can also see the Miami Heat, because he has such a good relationship with Pat Riley and that franchise. So I could see either one. I could see him going to Cleveland or Miami to close out his year, but I don't see him playing another season with the Los Angeles Lakers, unfortunately.
No, he's gone to LA. And then there's still a little part of me that's holding on to hope, like, hey, we traded Karl Anthony Towns. We have $45 million. LeBron, you want to play with us for 1 year? Do the fucking impossible and bring the Knicks in a championship. I'll hold out a little bit of hope on that stuff. I'll take a fucking 45-year-old LeBron over plenty of players in this league.
And then you'll be like, hey, SP3, you want to do that top 10 greatest players of all time again? I'll put LeBron number 1 if he brings a championship to the Knicks.
It's undebatable at that point.
That would be hilarious. But we shall see what happens with LeBron the rest of the season. He's definitely not going to be traded next week. I would be dumbfounded, even more dumbfounded than I was with the Luka trade last year. But we'll get into in-season trades and infamous and famous in-season trades in a bit here. But it's time for our award section of this edition of Tru Heel Heat Check. We have hit the mid-season point of this NBA season, so it is now time to give out awards to see where everybody stands. We'll see if this holds up to the end of the season with a couple of these guys, but as of right now, most of the teams have played about 45 to 46 games in the season, so it is the right time to do our mid-season awards. Let's start off very simply with, I think that we're going to be consistent. I think we're going to have a consensus with most of these awards, but let's start off with one that I know we're going to have the same one for: Rookie of the Year. What do you got, Chris G?
Oh, it's Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag, 100%. Unanimous. He's just played ridiculous for an 18-year-old, an 18, 19-year-old. Like, he's come into the league and he's looked like he is ready-made and that he's going to be a perennial all-star, maybe even like a fringe MVP candidate later in his career. He's just been great for the Dallas Mavericks, despite the Dallas Mavericks having, a down season this year.
Yeah, I mean, once they put him back at his natural position, it all clicked for him. Next year, Kyrie comes back, got a good point guard with him. I think Cooper Flag is going to be a dangerous man.
Yeah, most definitely agreed there. Then let's go to one of the newer awards, Clutch Player of the Year. Who do you have for Clutch Player of the Year?
No lie, this might come out of the left field, but he's hit like 4 game winners for the Bulls. This is Vucevic. My boy Nikolai Vucevic. Legit. He has hit like 3, 4, 5 game winners for this Bulls team, who is like weirdly fun to watch. So he's like the one gruntled veteran, this gruntled veteran on the team where all the young kids are pissing him off, but he still gets it done and still hits these fucking shots to win games. So I'm giving it to Vucevic.
I can see that. I gave it to Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards has been one of the best clutch players when it's down to 2 minutes. The Timberwolves have won so many games in like the final minutes of the fourth quarter, and it's been down to Anthony Edwards. And I love the fact that he's added to his game every year. Like last year, we were talking about his 3-point shot and how much he improved that. Now this year, he's in the low post. His post game is like immaculate at this point, where he's a guaranteed 2 points if he's down in the low post. And just when it comes down to it in the fourth quarter, you can always count on him to hit a big shot and get his team the lead when it really matters the most. So I give it to Anthony Edwards for sure.
That's a good choice.
We got some love in the chat from Jose for VJ. He says VJ had Rookie of the Year for about a week or two. I think what's his name? What's his name from the Hornets?
Oh, Knope.
From the Knope, he is on track to potentially one day he could be the one who breaks Steph Curry's record either in the season for regular season amount of threes or in his career, the way he's been shooting the three ball. So like Knope, he's probably my second choice, and then VJ would be third.
Yeah, same. That boy could shoot. Oh, he was good in college, but he could shoot in the pros now, so he's only going to get better.
Yeah, we got Louis. He says, "Free the Knope." Yeah, he's never gonna get the traction or the attention that he deserves if he's on the Hornets. The Hornets is a poverty-stricken franchise, so he's never gonna get the love and attention that we're giving him here anywhere else.
For real.
All right, let's go to Sixth Man of the Year. Who you got for a Sixth Man of the Year?
This was kind of tough. I feel like there hasn't really been like a 6-man really separating himself this year.
I think there's been two. I think Naz Reid, once again, he's been great coming off the bench for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But my pick, I'm giving it to Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson is a starter who comes off the bench, and he just is like the definition. The San Antonio Spurs is such a deep team. That's why they've had the number of the Oklahoma City Thunder, is because they are really modeled after the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the reason that I went for them the last 2 seasons to win the NBA championship is because they've been the deepest team, and they just followed a model that was created by the Boston Celtics, because going into the 2024 season, the Boston Celtics were the deepest team in the NBA, and that's why they won the championship that year. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder had all these young players that made them the deepest team going into last season. And then this season, they're still the deepest team, but they've been stricken with all these injuries. Whereas the Spurs, they have the young players, they have the deep team, but Keldon Johnson coming off the bench, hitting 3-point shots, hitting key. He's been like a leading scorer for his team a few times as well. I think he's been the best 6-man coming off the bench this year.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, he's always been putting up numbers since he got into the league, really. He's been one of those, like even when the Spurs were like still in the rebuilding. Look at the stat sheet, Keldon Johnson putting up 20, 25 games. So it's good to see him come off the bench, and it brings a lot of value to that team.
Absolutely. All right, keeping on kind of the lower level awards, let's go with most improved player. Who are you going with?
I'm going with I think I want to go with Jalen Duren. Just looks like one of those like beastie big men that you don't want to get in the paint with, right? Like he's like kind of like a throwback to like real like big men who like just like bang down low and just hustle and scrap for boards and get the lob, could protect the rim. Like it's been really solid for this Pistons team. I mean the Pistons are a solid well-built team, but I think he's like that anchor of that team outside of Cade Cunningham. So if I had to give it most improved to anybody, I'd say Jalen Duren.
That's a really good shout. I think we got to show like love or mention to Devi Avdia for the Portland Trailblazers, because he's been a key driver to why the Portland Trailblazers have played so well this year, in my opinion. But my most improved player, I'm giving it back-to-back years to the Atlanta Hawks. Last year, Dyson Daniels won it. This year, Jalen Johnson is my most improved player. Like, he's been beat. He's the whole reason why Trae Young got traded. Like, he got Trae Young traded single-handedly by being a 21-10 guy. He's just an automatic offensive threat when he gets on the court. He has been fantastic this year. It's got to be Jalen Johnson for me. I see Jose in the chat who says Reeves or Jaylen Brown. You can't. This is what sickens me about the NBA. They usually do give it to guys like this who don't really deserve it because they've always been good. Like, Austin Reeves has always been good. Jaylen Brown is a NBA Finals MVP. This is what the NBA will give you, but we're telling you who should really win this stuff of people that have actually taken that step up in their quality of play. And like Jalen Durant is a good shout, like I told you. Devi is a great shout. But to me, Jalen Johnson, he's the one that's taken the biggest leap.
Yeah, he's a triple-double threat every night. And he's one of those guys. He just got a motor. Like, he just got a high motor. He's always up and down the court, always making the right plays. So I like Jalen Johnson. That's a good pick.
Yeah. All right, let's go with defensive player of the year. I think this is one that's a two-horse race.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more inclined to give it to Wemby. Just feel like, I mean, the alien, man, Area 51 is just, he's just such a presence down there, and he's a really good perimeter defender too for somebody his size.
Yeah, I gotta give love and a shout to Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren, numbers wise, he's been the best defensive player in the year. His defensive rating, he leads the league in defensive rating. He's averaging 2 blocks per game, averaging a steal and a half. He's been the anchor for the best defense in all of the NBA this year. So I got to give him love for that. But yes, I'm going to go with Victor Wembanyama. And this is going to be the first of many Defensive Player of the Year awards for Wemby. We might as well start it off this year.
Yeah, they need he's not winning MVP, so they need to give him something.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, final two here. Who you got for Coach of the Year?
I'll go with JB Bickerstaff. All right, Pistons playing solid ball all season. Probably going to finish in the 1 seed of the East. Took the step up from last year, that leap, right? You could give it to Mark. I fucking always forget how to pronounce his last name, from the Thunder, because despite the injuries and all that, they're still the number 1 seed over there. Even the Spurs coach, I mean, guys, I forget his name too. He's been really good, really solid all season, put together a hell of a game plan against these elite teams. So those 3 guys, between them 3, it's up in the air. But I would say I would go with JB just because he got the Pistons playing probably the best team in the league.
Yeah, the Pistons coach is Mitch Johnson.
Oh, that's the Spurs coach. Yeah, Mitch.
Oh, yeah, Spurs.
Mitch. Yeah,
Spurs coach.
There you go.
Mitch Johnson is the Spurs coach. Those are all good shouts, but you're forgetting one big name who I'm giving Coach of the Year to. It's Joe Mazzulla. It's Joe Mazzulla for the Boston Celtics. Yes, it is. The Boston Celtics should not be second place in the Eastern Conference right now. They should not. They lost their best player in Jason Tatum. They traded all their other role players and key role players that got them the championship in 2024 with True Holiday and KP and Al Horford. They moved on everybody. The biggest pickup that they had during the offseason was Anthony Simons. Yet they are number 2 in the Eastern Conference right now. They should not be this good. It all comes down to the coaching. I got to give it to Joe Mazzulla at this point.
That's a good pick. It's because he threatens his players with violence. If you don't play good, I'm gonna whip that ass. We're gonna put the gloves on. I'm gonna whip that ass. Nobody wants it with Joe.
Also, plus he has one of the greatest post-game pressers of the season so far. Illegal screen. What did you think about the game? Illegal screen.
He said 17
What did you think about that fourth quarter? Illegal screen.
That was a good one.
That was the greatest tribute to Rasheed Wallace. Both teams played hard that I've ever seen. Got to give it to him for that.
Sure.
All right. Last one. MVP, most valuable player. Who you got, Chris G?
Could go Cade. You could go Cade. I mean, SGA is going to be an MVP candidate, but he's missed a couple games and stuff. So, you could argue that he's not the MVP of the league right now. I still have to go with Jokic, though. I mean, he's just putting up fucking phenomenal numbers. He's averaging a triple-double, and he's shooting 60% from the field. Like, he's literally top 10 in everything. So, I don't care if they're third seed. I don't care if they're fifth seed. Just, we had this discussion. Jokic, yes, doesn't play the greatest defense. Fucking slow sometimes, but his greatness makes up for his miscues. So I'm gonna stick with Jokic for the MVP so far this season.
That is fair. Jokic has played a ridiculous season so far. He's been great this season, but I don't think he's gonna meet the requirement. He's already missing. He's gonna miss his 15th game.
Oh shit, that's right. He's hurt
this season. Yeah, so he might be out for even more games. So he's not going to hit the 65 requirement. So I'm not including him. And plus, like I've said once, I'll say 1,000 times. This man only plays on one side of the court. Does play on both sides of the court and has had to hold down his team in the face of injuries. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Back-to-back MVPs for Shai. I think that he has been ridiculous this season. He's continued on the stretch, on the consistency that he had in the playoffs last year, what he was able to deliver in the regular season, and being an automatic 30-point scorer every time he hits the court. Like, this guy is one of the best guards that we've ever seen in the NBA. This season, he's averaging 32 points per game on 55% from the field, 39% from three. He's averaging 89% from free throw, I think it's 4.5 rebounds, 6 assists, steal and a half. Like, yeah, it's got to be Shai. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If y'all think otherwise, y'all are just paying way too much attention to one side of the court and not the other, because defensively, he is the superior player. Like, the margin between Jokic on offense and Shai on offense is smaller than the margin between Shai on defense and Jokic on defense. It's very far apart when it comes to that end, and that's why Shai has to be my MVP once again this season, at least for the Midseason Awards here.
I hate giving back-to-back MVPs, but yes, rightfully deserved. So.
Yeah, you just want to give a guy an MVP. What the hell?
He skipped the year. They skipped him. Fucking deserves it.
Y'all are still trying to make up for giving that stupid MVP to Joel Embiid.
I mean, I didn't want to give him that shit.
We're going to add an award here. Who's been the most impressive team of the midseason so far in the NBA for you?
I mean, it got to be the Celtics. It got to be the Celtics. Because like you said, nobody thought they were going to be – we all thought they were going to be, it's a lost year. Jason Tatum will be back next year, and we got to worry about them. But, like, no, now you got to worry about them this year still. And what if Jason Tatum comes back? So I'm like, this is a nightmare.
That's scary. It's scary out here in the Eastern Conference. Like, if they get Jason Tatum back and he's at least 80%, it might be a wrap for the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean, they just been impressive all season. They fight through adversity. The Clippers have been impressive, like, in the last, 20, 25 games. Even look at some of these teams, like the Suns, who are like a fringe playoff team who just nobody thought they were going to be that good. They're just putting it together. Raptors are impressive, of course. I think those are like the most like impressive, like surprising teams.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Detroit Pistons because I thought that they would definitely be in the top half of the Eastern Conference this year, but I didn't have them be a number one overall and just be in this defensive giant. And they're another team, kind of like the San Antonio Spurs, who have kind of modeled themselves off of what the Oklahoma City Thunder were able to do as far as rebuilding their team around a young core, having that guard up top who's great on offense and defense. Cade Cunningham's had a tremendous season. He's one of the top 10 players in the NBA. They are 34-11 right now. They're one loss behind the Oklahoma City Thunder as far as like games lost, and they're I think they're only like 2 games behind them overall as far as having the best record in all of the NBA. I think a lot of us expected, like I said, for them to be like a top 4, top 5 team in the Eastern Conference, but I didn't see a lot of people who had them number 1 overall, and by a good margin. They're up like 6 games on the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference. I don't think anybody expected this from the Pistons.
No, not the 1 seed. Definitely top 5, but 1 seed is impressive. And they're just like steamrolling past people. Like they're just a good team.
Yeah. They're hottest team right now in the Eastern Conference. If it wasn't for the Clippers, they'd be the hottest team in all of the NBA. They've won 8 of their last 10, and they've just been consistent. And like you said, you got Jalen Duran, who's taken the next step for the team. Just overall, their defense, they're one of the best defensive teams as well. So, yeah, you got to give love to the Detroit Pistons with being the most impressive team of the first half of the year. Who's been the most disappointing team of the first half of the season, Chris?
Let's see. I could go with the Timberwolves. I thought they'd be a better team than they have been playing as. I honestly thought the Magic would be a little better this year. They've been a little hurt. And the Cavs, you know, they're still 5th seed, but you thought they went from 1 seed like completely dominating everybody last year to just like being a mid team that you can beat. There's holes, there's weaknesses, and you can see them. So I would say the Cavs if I had to go with a team.
Yeah, it's a toss up really for me between the Mavs and the Magic and the Cavs. I think and Louis, I know Louis is a big Magic fan. He was calling and praising the Magic like 2-3 seasons ago and saying that they were the team on the rise and Paolo Banchero was going to be a superstar and all this, and it looked like that was going to be the case, and they made that big move to get Desmond Bane in the offseason, but they just have not gotten any consistency. They're not that good on offense. They don't really have like an offensive system, offensive flow that they can like really count on to get buckets. So I mean, but yeah, I gotta go with the Cavs. I gotta go with the Cavs. If I had to pick between those 2 teams, it's got to be the Cavs. Even though they've played better in the kind of like latter part of the first half of the season compared to how they started the season, when they were at one point they were like an 8th, 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. But everyone and their mama had Knicks and Cavs at the top of the Eastern Conference going into this season, and they have not played anywhere near that good this whole entire season. So they have to be the most disappointing team for me.
Agreed.
But that is our mid-season awards. But it's time, as always, on Tru Heel Heat Check, it seems, over the last couple of podcasts that we've done, Chris G, we got to give them a top 10, a top 20, a top list of a certain topic. You know, last episode, we did the top 10 greatest NBA teams of all time. We've given them their top 20 greatest players of all time. And now we're going to do something akin, because we got the trade deadline next Thursday, February 5th. So we are going to do the top 10 best in-season trades. No off-season trades, nothing that happened before the season started. This has to be an in-season trade. So it could be at the trade deadline. It could be a little bit after the start of the season. And of course, as always, when we're doing this live, you can sound off in the live chat and name some of your favorite or best in-season trades that you remember. But Chris G, as always, what we do, I give you the 10, you give me your 10, back and forth. So we're going to start with number 10 of the best in-season trades. What you got, Chris G?
I got Jason Kidd getting traded to the Dallas Mavericks in 2007 with Devin Harris, amongst other names. I'm sure they weren't the only ones traded in that trade. But this was a big, important trade for the Mavs because even though Kidd was on the lower, at the back end of his career, still a good point guard that was super essential to that championship team, 2 years later? So yeah. Because they eventually won that championship for the Dallas Mavericks organization, this is why I went with this trade first.
So I got at number 10, this is a controversial one because it didn't result to crap. It didn't result to anything really, but it was one of like the bigger in-season trades in recent memory. Number 10, Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns. Everybody was going crazy for this in 2023. This was like insane. We were like, what? He's going to the Phoenix Suns, the team that just went to the NBA Finals 2 seasons ago. He's going to be playing with Chris Paul and Devin Booker and he's going to be playing with all these guys that went to the what? This is ridiculous. This is going to be guaranteed. They're going to make it to the NBA Finals. So as far as like buzzworthy, I don't think there hasn't been many trades as big as this one. So despite the result not being so good, it led to a first round exit and then not making the playoffs. So the result wasn't that good, but as far as like name value and buzzworthiness and how much coverage this got, it's got to be in my top 10 in season trade. So KD to the Suns at number 10. What is your number 9, Chris G?
This could potentially make its way up the list one day, but for now, I got it at number 9. And it's Tyrese Halliburton getting swapped for Sabonis in 2022.
That is a good one.
It's already produced. It's already produced an Eastern Conference Finals visit and a NBA Finals. And Tyrese is, I think, only 25, or 26 if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I mean, there's still room to grow for that trade, but it's already proved to be one of the better in-season trades.
So I'm already seeing a theme with our list here because I see you're going more on what is resulted in, and I'm going with like how big and how much coverage it really was. So my number 9 is DeMarcus Cousins to the New Orleans Pelicans.
That was a trade. Yeah.
That was a trade right there that everyone went crazy about in 2018 because you have to realize in the 2010, DeMarcus Cousins was like a top 10 center in the NBA. And you placed him. Yeah, top 5. Yeah, at one point, when he was putting up doubles with the Sacramento Kings, and then he goes and he gets shifted to the Pelicans, who had Anthony Davis in his prime before he became half man, half a season, or street clothes, whatever you want to call him. Like this was the peak of Anthony Davis when Anthony Davis was a top 5 MVP candidate in 2018, and the fact that they played together, like I gotta give it love. I gotta give that the number 9 on my list here.
They had one game where they both had like 30 and 20. Like we thought they were going to be the next Twin Towers. Like, oh shit, this is the second coming.
Yo, everybody thought like they were going to be this new Twin Towers, this new like best front court. They were for like a couple of seasons, like 2 seasons. They were like the best front court in the NBA, but DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis got stricken by injuries. Anthony Davis, of course, would get traded to the Los Angeles Lakers in the 2019-2020 season. So it didn't work out as well. But for that one season, season and a half, they had the world buzzing with DeMarcus Cousins on the Pelicans. So what is your number 8 on your list?
Number 8 for me can easily go down in both. This trade can go down in two separate lists at the same time. This could be easily one of the best in-season trades of all time, and possibly one of the worst in-season trades of all time. And this is Carmelo Anthony getting traded to the New York Knicks in 2011 because we had to give up a fucking arm, leg, a foot. We gave up everything for this man. And I love Melo. It resulted in one of the greatest New York Knicks careers in history, but it didn't result in a ring or any extended playoff success. So for that reason, it's low. And for that reason and how much the Knicks gave up to get Melo, could be one of the worst in season trades too. Just because the Knicks were they were playing really good when they traded all those guys. So I love Melo though. So I'm gonna go with number 8, Melo.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I do have that one higher up on my list.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I had to put that higher up on my list here. So number 8 for me. This is another one. Like, bottom of my list is merely for headlines and buzzworthiness. Like, this is all of these because none of these worked out the way that most people wanted them to. But number 8 for me, James Harden to the Philadelphia 76ers in 2022. That one was huge because he freaking forced his way out of the Brooklyn Nets, and this otherworldly trio that they had with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, because he couldn't deal with Kyrie Irving. He wanted to cut on out of here. Kevin Durant still talks about him forcing his way out of that and talks shit to his friend James Harden about that. And for the season and a half that they were together, James Harden and Joel Embiid look like a threat to win the Eastern Conference at the very least. Like they had that series with the Boston Celtics where they pushed them to the brink and stuff like that. They had a couple of seasons where they looked really good throughout the regular season and then went into the playoffs and just bombed the way that Joel Embiid always bombs and the way James Harden always bombs in the playoffs. You just had two players that never are able to replicate the success that they have in the regular season in the playoffs. But as far as like buzzworthiness and headlines, this was huge. So I put that at number 8.
No, I was scared. I was like, fuck, now we got to deal with the 76ers too. I thought they were going to make a 3-4 year run of them being elite.
Yeah, but it wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't meant to be. Number 7, Chris G.
All right. This one I got Kyrie Irving getting traded to the Mavs in 2023. It resulted in a final appearance, and Kyrie's still with the Mavs. So it's like, this is another trade that, hey, you never know if the Mavs fully healthy, add another piece or two, become an elite team or something, and this trade goes up the list. But they already got a finals appearance out of it, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I have that very close here on my list. But I went with number 7 for me. It's Jason Kidd to the Dallas Mavericks in 2008, because I felt like that is one of the key moves that they made that basically set them up to win the championship 3 seasons later. So I had to put Jason Kidd going to the Mavs, and this was still kind of at the latter half of his prime years. This is one of his last prime years before he became more of a role player. But him alongside Dirk Nowitzki, a lot of people thought that was going to lead to a championship with the Mavericks, and it eventually did. But a lot of people thought it was going to happen sooner rather than later, because it came right after the season that Dirk won the MVP, and they came up short against the San Antonio Spurs. So it was them making a move to get a key point guard to put alongside Dirk Nowitzki to compete with the likes of Tony Parker and Tim Duncan. Unfortunately, there was another major trade in 2008 that stopped them from that for the next couple of seasons, but we'll get into that in a little bit later. And this is why number 6 for me is the aforementioned Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks, because you're absolutely right. It led to a champ. It didn't lead to much that first season where they completely bombed and didn't make the playoffs, but the next season they're in the NBA Finals, and that Kyrie and Luka Doncic in the backcourt, that is up there with the Splash Brothers for the most impressive or greatest backcourt that we've seen in recent memory. Like, they were automatic, like 25 points per game for Kyrie Irving, 30 point. He averaged like 34, 8 and 8 that season. Luka Doncic, that's the best season that he's ever played, probably before this season that he's played in the NBA so far. And they just created magic, made it all the way to the NBA Finals, and they probably would have won if they didn't face one of the deepest teams that's ever been in an NBA Finals. So yeah, Kyrie to the Mavs has to be on this list for sure. But what is your number 6?
So my number 6 is Derek White getting traded from the Spurs to the Celtics, 2022. It gave the Celtics that glue guy that they needed, to allow the other superstars to do their thing. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Once Derek White got on that team, everybody else's efficiency went up, just because he does the little things that helps everybody else play their game. So, and he's still with them, and he was a pivotal part of that championship. So, I'm going with Derek White.
That's a good shout. Good shout right there. I didn't include that on my list, but in retrospect, I probably should have. I have another one that is similar to that was a game changer, like role player that went to a team, but we'll bring that up shortly here. But number 5 for me, this is number 5. Yeah, number 5 for me. I went with you guys. Carmelo Anthony going to the New York Knicks in 2011. Like I said, this is as far as like buzzworthiness, but also this put the Knicks on another level. Like, I thought that the Knicks were playing really well with Amari and Raymond Felton, that pick and roll combination that season. And I still stand by the fact that Melo probably should have waited till the offseason so we could have seen what the Knicks could have done with Amari at the number 1 spot and that pick and roll combination with Raymond Felton, and y'all had to give up way too much to get Carmelo to go there. So, like, yeah, I think he should have waited to the offseason when he became a free agent. But anyway, it happened, and what it produced is probably the best Knicks basketball until the last couple of years. Like, this was when y'all were consistently in the playoffs. Y'all were consistently one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, and Carmelo Anthony will go down as like a top 5, top 10 Knicks player of all time coming off of this trade. So this trade was a big change for Carmelo coming home. And he was, like I said, the only superstar that I can remember in my generation, my 37 years of life, that chose to go to the New York Knicks, that there was all these news coverage and articles about him potentially coming to the Knicks. And then it actually happened. I had to put it high. I had to put it in my top 5.
I mean, listen, I love Melo. I was so excited when he got traded to the Knicks. At that time, I didn't care who they gave up for him. I was ecstatic that Carmelo Anthony was coming to the Knicks. He had a hell of a career with us, and I'm so grateful that he was a New York Knick. But when you look back on that trade, they gave up 56 points per game to get Carmelo Anthony. Danilo Gallinari was averaging 16 points a game. Wilson Chandler was averaging 15. Raymond Felton was averaging 18 and 9 before he got traded. 18 points. He was snubbed from the All-Star game. He was a fringe All-Star that year.
He would have been an All-Star. I think if he stays on the Knicks, he would have been an All-Star, and he probably would have won Most Improved Player that season.
Oh, yeah, and he probably would have not got fat and out of shape. So when they got him the second time around, it fucking took him a while to get his shit together. But I mean, I loved everybody on that team, and it felt like a necessary trade at the time, but I'm still not mad at it. I'm still glad that we had Carmelo Anthony as a Knick.
Yeah. Amari Stoudemire probably would have been top 2, top 3 in MVP voting as well.
He was looking like fucking Pat Ewing, second coming.
It was crazy. Scary. It was scary, yo. Like, he was like 25 games into the season. He was my MVP pick. I remember that. He was my MVP pick that season.
Yeah, he was averaging like 24 and 12 or something like that before Melo came to the Knicks. Well, his numbers are going to go down because Melo takes the ball to be efficient, but it still wouldn't. I still would make that trade just either in the offseason or early in the season where the value was a little less.
Yeah. Who you got at number 5?
Number 5, I'm going with Aaron Gordon getting traded to the Nuggets in 2021. Kind of another like glue guy that, or just somebody that needed to change the scenery. So then when he went to the Nuggets and joined like this championship ready like culture, his game expanded 5 times more than it was in Orlando, and he was a big part of that championship run. So, yeah, I'm going with Aaron Gordon.
And you are absolutely right. I just have him higher. Number 4 for me is Aaron Gordon to the Denver Nuggets in 2021. Like, yo, that trade was a game changer for the Nuggets and a game changer for Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was mostly seen as an interior threat, a slam dunk champion, a guy that can get down into the low post and kind of score for you. He changed up his game completely playing next to Nikola Jokic, where he became a 3-point specialist, and he was one of the key parts that got them the championship back in 2023. So yeah, Aaron Gordon, that was a key move for the Nuggets for building their franchise and building a franchise that would eventually win the championship 2 years later. So it's got to be Aaron Gordon. And that, like I said, Aaron Gordon, he's a completely different player than what he was in Orlando, and I don't think he would be the player that he is today without that trade to the Nuggets.
No, that was necessary for his career, and it was necessary for the franchise, for the Nuggets to become elite and get that championship.
Yeah. So who do you have at number 4?
All right. Spoiler alert. I have both Gasol brothers on this list, but this one is Marc Gasol getting traded to the Raptors in 2019. Gave the Raptors that rim protector behind the good perimeter defense, OG, Kawhi. And I mean, once Gasol got there, he opened up. We forget that both Gasol brothers, but Marc Gasol was a really good passer, and he helped open, and he could shoot a little bit. So he opened up the floor for the rest of that Raptors team. And then they went on that crazy run in the playoffs that ended up winning the championship. So their only championship in franchise history. So I'm going with Marc Gasol.
That's a good shout. I don't have that on my list, but definitely a good shout there. Who is your number 3? Let's start the top 5. Who you got at 3?
Clyde Drexler to the Houston Rockets, 1995. They already had won one championship, but this helped them win the second one. And he was at the end of his career, but he was still pretty effective. I feel like this was more for Clyde than the Houston Rockets franchise. This is good to see one of the greats get a ring.
That's a good one. You got a few that I didn't put on my list because I said before I valued buzzworthiness, and you valued what it resulted in. But this one is the combination of both, probably more than anything on my list. Number 3 for me, Rasheed Wallace to the Detroit Pistons in 2004. Yeah, this was huge because I hated the Portland Trailblazers, but I've always loved Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace was the bad boy of the NBA of the 2000s, especially early 2000s, with the Portland Trailblazers, with the Jailblazers, in and out of jail, the Jailblazers, most technical fouls of anyone, but no one ever thought that he would win a championship or be on a championship level team or be the key to the team winning the championship. And around that time in the early 2000s, like, the Pistons would always make it to like the semifinals or the conference finals, and they would always lose to the team that would go to the NBA finals. Like, it would be the Detroit Pistons, it would be the Indiana Pacers that would beat them to go to like the NBA finals or conference finals. But the Rasheed Wallace was a necessary evil for them. And to put him, who's this gritty, tough defender and a guy that can score the ball in the low post, to put him on a team that already had Ben Wallace down low, the defensive player of the year, consistent defensive player of the year, winning back to back. You had Chauncey Billups, who was this great scorer and facilitator for the team. Rip Hamilton, who was the great scorer, probably the inventor of what Steph Curry would become as far as running off screens and getting open looks, but except he would do it in the mid-range. And then you had Rasheed Wallace, who can hit it from 15, 18 feet out, who can go in the low post and not only guard the best low post player on the opposite team, but he could score consistently. And that is the key. That trade was the key to them winning the championship in 2004. And there's not a lot of times, like you said, like you mentioned some key role players that got traded and eventually won the championship, or even with like Marc Gasol won the championship later that year. But with Rasheed Wallace, that was a huge player to get, and then they win the championship that same season. That doesn't happen a whole lot, so I had to put it high up on my list here.
Yeah, Makes sense. Because at number 2, I have Rasheed Wallace going to the Pistons in 2004. Rasheed Wallace, hands down, one of my favorite players of all time. Because not only will he punch you in the face, but he can score. He plays defense. He hustles. He ended up being a Knick when he was an old man, and I fucking loved it. Ball don't lie. Rasheed Wallace as a Knick gave us some toughness that we haven't seen since the 90s. Like, he was a necessary force on that old ass Knicks team in 2012. But probably the most important trade in maybe Pistons history, because it brought him back to that elite level. He does so much on the floor of what the Pistons needed at the time, because they were a gritty defensive team already. Where they had struggled was kind of opening the floor up a little bit. They had traded Stackhouse prior to it and got, Rip, so they kind of had to model their game around that a little bit and change that up a little bit. So bringing in a guy like Rasheed, opens the floor on the offense. It allows Ben Wallace to bang down low on the boards by himself. It gives you a low post threat with Rasheed. It gives you an outside shooter that's a big that can stretch the floor. Now you got Chauncey. Chauncey could run the one. You got more options. The mid-range is freed up for Rip. So Rip was going crazy once Rasheed got to the team. And then Tayshaun, was a young dude just coming into his own, playing the wing, slashing, hitting the corner 3, playing defense. He just completed the team. And then they had a bunch of guys off the bench that just played defense and could give you big buckets when they needed it. So that was the missing piece for that Pistons team. And I'm glad that Rasheed Wallace was able to get a ring.
Absolutely agree with you there. I had it one spot lower. I probably would have also had it at number 2 if it wasn't for last year. Because when you want to talk about big names moving, if you want to talk about game changers and headlines, there is no more shocking in-season trade than number 2, Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. I am sorry. Nothing has created the ripple effect of the Los Angeles Lakers getting Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and Max Christie. This is just otherworldly. This is a trade no one saw coming. This is a trade that is one of the biggest stories of the last couple of years and one of the biggest trades you will ever see. It doesn't matter what the results are. Yes, we went to the first round and we got dropped in 5 games. We're only like a 5th seed this season. It does not matter. That changed the whole trajectory of the Los Angeles Lakers, who look like the next couple of years was going to be back to what we were at the end of Kobe's career. It looked like that before this trade with LeBron James, who was getting old. He was approaching 40, who was already 40 years old. You had Anthony Davis, who was going to be the best player on the team if LeBron left after the season. And what was that going to be for us with his injury history and being half man, half a season, and being street clothes the way he was? It looked like a very depressing next couple of years. And then we get one of the top 3, top 4 players in the NBA, and it totally changed the Los Angeles Lakers. It totally changed the Dallas Mavericks. Nico Harrison lost his job off that trade. They got Cooper Flagg off that trade and improved their trajectory for the next couple of years in the process. So, it has to be Luka Doncic in my top 2. When you talk about name value, when you talk about game changers and headlines, it don't get any bigger than Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, this is one of those trades that got the potential to move on my list for sure, right? It just depends on the success of the Lakers. Hopefully, Luka can get them to the promised land.
Yeah. I hope he can. I hope we see an NBA Finals in the next couple of years, but as far as like I said, buzzworthiness, name value, the game changing throughout the NBA, the ripple effect that it has, there's not any bigger than Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. But you teased it before. And yes, we have the same number 1 like we did for the greatest players of all time. We had different number 1s for greatest team of all time, but we're back to being on the same page. Number 1 for me is another Laker trade, and it's the Laker trade that I most fondly remember, Pau Gasol to the Los Angeles Lakers. What is your number 1?
It is the same. It's Paul Gasol getting traded to the Lakers. First of all, this trade wasn't even supposed to happen. Chris Paul was supposed to go to the Lakers. This trade doesn't happen if Chris Paul gets traded to the Lakers.
That was a few years later. That was a few years
Was
later. Yeah, that was in 2011.
So who was the trade they paid? Oh, was that when they got Dwight then instead?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All
yes.
right.
Yeah.
Because I know. All right. My bad. Because I knew one of those trades wasn't supposed to happen. All right. So the Paul Gasol trade was supposed to happen. He got traded for his brother.
It really wasn't supposed to happen because we traded him for Kwame Brown. Like the return that, like, luckily Marc Gasol becomes Marc Gasol, but Marc Gasol
got traded for his brother.
was a guy who was not playing for the Lakers. He got drafted, I think, that same season, and he wasn't playing for the Lakers, so they didn't know what they were getting.
Yeah. They drafted his rights because he didn't even come to the league yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they traded his rights because he didn't join the league yet. It was a fleece. It was a fleece. The Lakers fleece everybody. I don't know what kind of mojo they got going on in these trade circles, but they fleece everybody in these trades. At first, it was Divock for fucking Kobe. We're getting Luka for fucking Max Christie, and then fucking Paul for Kwame Brown. Like, that's crazy. But Paul Gasol, very instrumental in those 3 in a row championships. Helped bring 2 of those championships. People sleep on how good Gasol was on the Memphis Grizzlies. So he is a guy that absolutely deserves to be part of a winning culture and contribute to a championship team. And this revitalized Kobe's legacy. This helped, put Kobe back into that. You don't need Shaq. You're a fucking one of a kind player. Mamba mentality, all that shit. It's contributed with the help of guys like Paul Gasol, who were very fond of Kobe. Him and Kobe had a very good relationship, and they brought out the best in each other. So Paul Gasol definitely deserves to be on this list.
Yeah, Paul Gasol, that totally changed the Lakers, and this was the trade that they really needed to keep Kobe, because Kobe was very disgruntled coming off of the 2 losses to the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs in 2006 and 2007. He was thinking about leaving the Lakers in the offseason of 2007.
He was going to the Knicks.
He was thinking about leaving in that offseason, but they was like, trust us, we're gonna make a move. We're gonna get rid of Smith Parker. Don't worry, we'll get rid of Kwame Brown. Don't worry. And then they made this trade in the season. I think this was like in January of 2008. They made that trade, and it totally changed. We go to the NBA Finals that season. We run into the Big 3 in Boston, and we lose out because Paul Pierce had to take a dump in Game 1, and that totally changed the momentum of that game. And then we never recovered. But then we win the championship in 2009 with Paul Gasol being clearly the second best player on the team. Then the 2010 run, where arguably he was the best player on the court in Game 7 of the 2010 NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics, when we got our revenge and won that series. And despite Paul Gasol not being like a perennial top 75 of all time, when he was on the Memphis Grizzlies, he was a 20-10 guy consistently. He goes to the Lakers, and he's an 18-9 guy playing next to Kobe Bryant, and he can really kind of say with confidence, he is the greatest teammate that Kobe Bryant ever had. There wasn't any downside. Like, you could say Shaq was the best player that Kobe ever played with, but as far as being a teammate, there was a downside to that.
They hated each other.
They hated each other. They had 2 different mindsets. Kobe was about working hard, being the first in the gym and the last one out, and Shaq was about partying during the off season and getting surgery when the season starts instead of during the off season, like that type of stuff. Paul Gasol sacrificed so much to be with Kobe Bryant, to be that great number 2 to Kobe Bryant, and guide us to 2 championship wins. You can't even say into words and quantify the importance that Paul Gasol is to the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the great Laker players, and like I said, the greatest teammate Kobe Bryant ever had, to the point that after Kobe's passing, he's been like an uncle to that family. He's been a support system for that family that really needed it after the passing of Gigi and Kobe in 2020. So you can't, like, it's so important, and it's such a big part of Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers legacy. You got to give it to Paul Gasol for the best in-season trade in NBA history.
Yep, no argument here.
So that is our list of the top 10 best in-season trades. Of course, if you're watching us on demand, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think is the greatest in-season trade that you ever seen? We got Louisville who says Derrick Rose trade legit made me cry. Oh, that's that. That's there was a bunch of like trades that we did mention that were just like, as far as like deflating fans or like sadness among fans, there's a couple that you could like note that was just, damn, why did we have to do that? Why did we have to trade him?
I mean, I think the D Rose trade was before the season started, because he got traded to the Knicks. That's the only reason why I know that he got traded before the season started. So, but yeah, I could definitely would have been a heartbreaking trade if you're a Bulls fan.
Yeah. If you like this list, let us know if you want us to do off-season trades, because there's a bunch that we can go through with off-season trades as well. Louisville saying Kwame Brown had my size hands and I'm 6'1", and he's 6'11".
That's crazy. I got these tiny little hands.
We got Louisville. He says they were so tiny looking in person.
So weird. Big motherfucker like that with small hands.
No one there. Two of the greatest players of all time, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, hated him.
Yeah, I wonder why. This little hands ass motherfucker.
You big for nothing son of a but yes, we've made it to the end of another list, and we've made it to the end of another edition of Tru Heel Heat Check. If you like our content, let us know by dropping a thumbs up on the video. Share with your basketball NBA fans as well. That helps us out so much. You can hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified, so you always know when we are live with Tru Heel Heat Check. We'll be back with Tru Heel Heat Check number 22 next Friday, talking all about the in-season trades that go down this season with the trade deadline next Thursday. We'll be recapping all of that on next week's show. But Chris G, until then, let the people know where they can follow you on social media and when they shall see you again.
Yes, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at THCG. You can find me on X at Tru Heel Chris G. You can see me here on the Tru Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment channel talking some basketball with SP3. We got some baseball coming up too. A lot of big moves happening in the off season. So once we start getting towards spring training, I want to start dropping some baseball content. Keep you guys updated on that. And then you can find me on the Tru Heel Heat Wrestling channel as well with all your shorts and recaps.
Boom. Check that out. And we'll also have some shorts from this episode of Tru Heel Heat Check. So if you want to get in tune with that, we'll be dropping some from this episode. You can see the previous ones on the channel right now with our top 10 greatest teams of all time, our Mount Rushmores. We're going to come back. We said before we did our Mount Rushmores for the Los Angeles Lakers and the New York Knicks. We'll be doing it for all of the teams in the NBA very soon. So be on the lookout for that. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. You can follow the gang Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gives you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here or on the wrestling YouTube channel. Check out Tru Heel Heat Check number 20 with our top 10 best NBA teams of all time. We did that on our last episode. You can also check out our Power Book 4 Force Season 3 Episode 10 review of myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and Graps Knowledge, talking about the series finale of Force and talking a lot about Power Book. I guess it's going to be, 6 Legacy as well with Tariq and Tommy. We talked about that on that episode as well. I will be back on the Tru Heel Heat Wrestling YouTube channel tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time, with AE Ramble, reviewing tonight's AEW Dynamite with Jimmy Macaram. So join us live over there. We got our Royal Rumble preview on Friday at I'm going to address the time because I just realized that SmackDown's going to be going on at the same time. So I'll figure out what time we're doing that. We probably we will record it and then we will drop it for y'all probably at a later time, but we'll see what happens with that. But we'll have our Royal Rumble preview on the channel on Friday. And of course, Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. Saturday, I believe it's either going to be earlier at 9:05 or it was going to be the regular time, 10:05 a.m. Eastern time. Myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and special guests Alex McCarthy of Wrestling Intel and Sat E. Niangi of Wrestle Paris will be joining us for the show. So join us for that as well. Before Chris G, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat Check number 21 for the 2025-2026 Midseason Awards. We are signing off until next time.